A day of disruption, that is what protesters have been aiming to do, in particular with regards to the Knesset plenum, who was voting on more judicial reforms in the country, something that has completely divided and polarized the entire Jewish state. At the moment, here in Azza Street in the capital, Jerusalem, the same street where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has a private residence, the protests culminated, where many of them are saying that they are the working class, they are the middle class, and on a day like today where they should have been working and instead they are here protesting, if the economy collapses because they're not working, the government will need to listen to them then. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the nation earlier in the evening but didn't really touch on the judicial reforms nor any attempt at negotiations. What he did touch on was the very protests happening behind me.
I know that there are among you who passionately support reform, and I know that there are also citizens who oppose the reform with the same fervor. There are red lines that must not be crossed, and it doesn't matter how deep and turbulent and soul-shaking it is. The sharp and clear red line is a prohibition against violence and anarchy.
Police estimate that around 4,000 to 5,000 protesters showed up here, and if you can see behind me, this has been going on now for about 2 to 3 hours, thousands coming, many of them carrying placards and signs saying that democracy is eroding and the government needs to start negotiating. We know that both the coalition and the opposition both have preconditions to sitting down and negotiating, both of them saying that they are willing to come to the table, but no actual plan being put in place by either side. Meanwhile, you can see on this side, the police have been gathering, stopping protesters from getting close to Benjamin Netanyahu's house. But this very much has been a day of disruption. Disruption indeed, something that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu needed to touch on. Whether or not this will make or break his government, or whether or not the government will listen to what the people have to say. Again, this is just the opposition protest. There are many people in Israel that actually support the judicial reforms. A very divisive issue, a country that is polarized. The government is going to need to address this sooner or later. And at the moment, based on what we're seeing here, rather sooner than later. But 11th off I-24 News from Jerusalem.